Hi, everyone. Welcome back to part 2 of the Actors episode, where we talk with actor Paul Rossi. We continue our discussions about the auditioning process, insights into the movie industry, some of our favorite films, and God knows what else.
Back up the shit you're saying that's opinion.
Exactly, because I will trash like Marvel movies to no end.
Oh, you're on the right podcast.
Yeah.
This is Andy will die on the sword for these movies for some reason.
The first. Now I'm not into him anymore. But the first 3 films.
Yeah, it only took 72 movies for Andy
26.
to finally say he's sick of them.
Hey, that's not bad.
How long did they have to beat that fucking dead horse?
Dead Horse was done.
Christ.
I think the Hulk with Edward Norton, and that was the second movie, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, I was out then. The only thing that got me was when they did, and everybody, oh God, my friend Jay hates when I say this, but when Endgame, the first Endgame, what was that called?
Oh, I don't even remember.
There was 2 Endgames. There's like Infinity War and Endgame, right?
Infinity Stones and Endgame.
You don't even know what you're like this Marvel expert, whatever.
Everybody listening to this could be like, fuck these guys, I don't even know the fucking movies.
Well, I hate the movies, so it's fine. But but the first, when Thanos shows up and he has this weird Michael Jackson glove and he snaps his fingers and then the universe disappeared and the movie ended and everyone was so bleak, I went, this is my favorite Marvel movie of all time because it's over. It's over. The evil won and they'll never be back. They should just end this. This is fantastic. And then they came out with another one and they won. And I went, I want the Bergman ending. I want the sad ending where everybody walks out of the theater going, I can't believe they did that.
On record, you were like, I enjoyed how they closed it up. You liked that movie.
I did enjoy how they closed it up. I'm just saying, I think they should have closed up where everybody dies.
Yeah.
Instead of half, just go with all.
I mean, think about the world we're living in right now. Thanos wins, and then that's the end of the world. Yeah, I believe that happens.
I'm cool with that.
I mean, come on. That's more reality. That's more reality than Captain America sitting on a fucking bench as an old guy going like, yeah, I got poon once.
Yeah, pretty much.
No offense to poon out there.
On your left. Sorry, that's a line from in America. It's him and Mackie running. I hate Mackie too, by the way.
Okay, but if you were offered a Marvel movie tomorrow, though, what are we doing? What are we doing?
I would dance my shit across the floor and do whatever. I would start working out.
And bite your tongue immediately.
No, I wouldn't care, because here's the thing: is you can bring something to these films that's just been lacking recently.
Right.
And the reason I would do it 100% is obviously the payday and the
exposure.
Yeah. But it's because I loved comic books as a kid, and it's not one of these new wave people. You can tell the difference between comic book fans and Marvel movie fans, because a comic book fan will say they're a comic book fan, and a Marvel movie fan that says they love comics and everything else will say they're a Marvel fan or a DC fan.
Right.
And that's not how it works, like, to me. So it irks me, and I love seeing this stuff come to life because I was madly in love with this as a child. But to see artwork when it was written by Stan Lee and drawn by Jack Kirby, the King of Kings, for comic books, and to see what they turned it into is massively offensive. Like, as a comic book fan, and a lot of people are going to go, "Oh, fuck this guy," but they've turned it into a processing just garbage system now, and there's no. I think what was it Scorsese said? There's no risk. It's
a license to print money.
Yeah, and there's no risk. There's no risk to watching these films because whatever happens doesn't happen. Granted, it's fantasy, but even in a lot of fantasy films, you can have, a risk. Your characters are risking something. Whatever. But that doesn't exist when you have everybody on the goddamn screen's got a superpower,
Well, my biggest gripe is they keep telling me in every movie the world's going to end if this person wins, and I go fuck yourself. The world's not going to end because Avengers 1, 2, 3, 17. The world didn't fucking end. And the one time it did end, you came back and ended it and everybody won again. So go fuck yourself.
Yeah, well, the problem that I had with it too was the whole introduction to multiverse. Because in the comic books, it's awesome. It's a way for writers to stretch and grow.
Yeah.
But in cinema and what they've done with it has done nothing but create lazy writers. Like, because you now have an option. Oh, I could kill this guy. I could do this. But it didn't happen in this universe. And they just rely on that now. Like, oh, we can do like a trick set where you'd be like a flashback series, but it's not a flashback series. It's shit like that. And I think it's just created like a lazy sense of writing that those films 100% have. I think I watched the Doctor Strange one, and they were sitting in a diner with three characters explaining the plot. Like, just let the plot fucking play out. Why are you fucking talking about this?
That's my least favorite thing of any movie, and not even in Marvel. It's when you literally are telling me what is going to happen in the movie.
What's happening right now? We're in a diner talking about what the fuck? Like, move. That's not good story writing. That's weaker shit than voiceover.
I should point out that, like I always do when I get on this subject on this podcast, I'm not talking about the people making these movies. They look great. There's 5,000 people that have jobs. They are great storytellers. They are great writers. They're great directors. They're great actors in them. What I'm talking about is the general public's, I guess, the way that they can just turn a blind eye to the same product that they're ingesting into their brain, 70 films going on, and that's what drives me crazy. We're not really seeing anything different than the last one, even if we change the characters and we change the actors and all that. It's just the same thing over and over. I don't know how they don't get sick of it.
Money.
Yeah, but the audience, I don't know how the audience. I can't see this thing. I'm not a theme park guy anymore. I haven't been to a theme park in a long time. But if I had to go on the Matterhorn 70 times, even once a year, like for 70 years, I'd go fucking crazy. It's the same roller coaster, guys. I know I'm going to get to the end, and I know every loop and every cave that I'm going to go into. How is this fun? But yet I know one of my friends who goes to Disney World, every 3 months.
I've got friends that go every week. I don't
Jesus.
Get it.
That's nuts.
That's creepy. I think you should be put on a list if you're in a But I think to that note, what you're saying is I don't think people realize that they're regurgitating, and then those people are just eating what they're regurgitating. Like I don't think they're aware, because a lot of people don't have that knowledge of cinema or the care, for that matter, that they just want entertainment and they just want their content. And they don't really care how good it is.
Right. And like a break from their daily grind. A lot of times I think, because when I see these movies in theaters, it's an excuse to have your kids shut up for 3 hours. So I get it. I get the break. I mean, my dad loves Hallmark movies, and he watches them all year long, not just Christmas. And he knows, he says to me all the time, he makes excuses for them. I know they're bad. I know they're boring and they're schmaltzy. And you know what? I give that a pass, actually, because they make him happy.
They make you emote.
Yeah, it's not. They're also not making $32 billion.
Yeah, like, oh fuck, the raccoon died.
Wait, that's a Marvel movie.
Fuck. And also, I know it's not a raccoon, people. He's a fucking alien. I know.
See, that could be a Hallmark movie.
I know Rocky Raccoon's background and all that horse shit.
Hey, you're up on me, man. I watched the first 2 of those movies. I have not seen the new one. And that's the thing. That's the thing with the Marvel thing. I haven't seen one movie of the new phase, because of the last phase. I was just done. I was done. I just had to be done. I only went to these movies and saw these movies because it's like reading the stock portfolio or reading the trades or something. You got to see what's out there. You got to see what's making money. And when I realized, you don't really need to see these anymore, because I know what's going to happen. I could sit down and write down what's going to happen in these movies. And like you said, knowing the history of these movies through the actual comics, I think two schools of thought is you're seeing your most beloved thing come to life. So where do you draw the line from being like straying from the art and the storylines in the comics? Because I know they famously combine a lot of shit and change a lot of shit. You know, you have to. So why did that change from loving the comics to actually seeing it on screen? What was the difference?
It's the same thing as reading a book. You get the version, and also with nostalgia added on, pile of it. But for me, when you read a comic, you get to create the in-betweens. You get to cast your own, like, you get to help the characters build along, and it's a part of a system that you're incorporated in. When you're watching the film, it's just there, and they got to pick their actors, and you're stuck with them, and you're like, they get to pick the way the movie looks. They get to pick, like, you're no longer allowed to be imaginative, which is what comic books were about. And you took an imagination away from it.
Were there any of the Marvel movies that you've seen from any phase that you went, that they did this one the best?
Yeah, I've watched all the Marvel films, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And I watch them to see if they are getting better, and I talk endless amounts of shit.
Even Thor Ragnarok?
Yeah, oh God. Why, did you see how much shit I've talked about that movie?
I have seen that, and my boy Taika Waititi, he is one of my favorite directors, especially right now. It hurts me to no end that I watched that movie before I knew who he was. I remember talking so much shit about that movie, and I feel so terrible now because I love the guy, but that one hurt. That one hurt bad.
What, Ragnarok?
Yeah.
Was it good or because it was bad?
No, because I couldn't get through it.
Oh, no, good. God, I couldn't tell where you were going with that.
No, I love the director. What I'm saying, I love the director so much that when I found out he directed it after hating the movie, or not, it just felt like I did him a disservice because maybe I need to go back and watch it again, and I can't.
No, you don't. And there was one that came out after that he directed, Love and Thunder.
That's right.
Again, I'm not seeing it because I love him to no end. I think Jojo Rabbit is one of the best movies of the last 10 years. And he did another movie, and I heard it was even more ridiculous on purpose. I wouldn't get the joke if it was more ridiculous.
I don't think so either.
No.
But he's such a child, whimsical kind of guy.
I love him.
His TV show, Our Flag Means Death, or This Flag Means Death.
Oh yeah, we watched the pilot of that. Yeah.
Oh, watch the whole series. It's fun. It's hilarious.
Everything he touches is hilarious, except for obviously.
But he's very good, and he does have the syndrome of putting himself into everything he's in.
Right.
Everything. Fuck, he just did that Coors commercial for.
I didn't see that yet.
He did some vodka commercial, and he put himself, because Daniel Craig is dancing. That's what it is. And the whole thing, and he's just like, James Bond is stretching his wings, and he's no longer James Bond, kind of making a new image.
I want to take acid with Taika Waititi.
Well, yeah, but Taika fucking directed it, and then he did his own cut where he put himself in the fucking commercial.
That's amazing.
It's just I love it because it's like people love to hear me talk. Like,
That's pretty good.
Awesome. Yeah, I've never even tried to do his voice until right that second. So
get back into character acting.
But yeah, exactly. But yet again, he is one of those people that you just want to watch when he's on the screen, and he has that draw. I don't know what it is.
He's such a lovable guy. He's so uniquely funny. Yeah. He's so quirky. And I don't know if you've ever seen his early movies. I mean, I think there's one called Son or something like Father. It's about like a kid who his dad comes back from prison, and then it's so emotional, but it's so funny. And then Hunt for the Wilder People. Have you ever seen that movie?
Yeah.
Holy shit, that will kick you in your stomach.
Yeah, I think I'd seen that before I knew who he was.
Yeah, Sam Neill, and then the kid from one of the Marvel movies.
No, he was from X-Men.
X-Men, yeah. Which X-Men?
Oh, it's the one where Josh Brolin's Cable.
No, that's it's from the Ryan Reynolds one, Deadpool.
Deadpool, that's what I meant. Oh, Deadpool.
See, I know more about this shit than you do.
Deadpool's X-Men adjacent.
This is ridiculous.
X-Force.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
a nerd. That was directed at myself. Like,
Okay, but
so,
that's a good point. Of all the Marvel movies out there, yeah, which one did you say that they got it the most right, or there more than one?
Well, I mean, honestly, because you brought it up and it was already the one that came to mind was Deadpool, like that whole kind of series. But it's because they cast the right actor, and
yeah.
The whole idea for the comic of Deadpool was the mercenary with a mouth. So you have this guy who's just a lunatic and his whole backstory, but he's funny. And I mean, he's witty, he's funny. And I mean, like, who better than him or Ezra? So Ezra's already tied up in the DC world. So you got to go with Ryan Reynolds. So it's a perfect casting. And that's what makes that film, I think, and those series of films is because you have Ryan Reynolds, and he and Chris Hemsworth are the living embodiments of those characters.
Yeah, I agree. Of all the shit I talk, I think the casting of the Marvel movies are amazing. I think they're pretty amazing.
Yeah, but I mean, Chris Hemsworth is Thor come to life, like that fucking right off the comic book page.
Yeah.
And very much the mannerism of Deadpool is very much Ryan Reynolds, where it's just shit talking and funny little quips, which is all that man's career has been since Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place.
Wednesdays at 8 on ABC.
Oh, God, that show was so good.
It was fantastic. It was like the original Two Broke Girls, but actually good.
You know what's really funny is, what's his name from the South Park? Bitch? What's that actor?
Dean Bahar.
Is not sure. Who's
That guy? The guy who plays Squeak?
Yes, Squeak.
Yes, that Dean Bahar, yeah.
Scolari. Yeah, Scolari. Squeak Scolari.
Yeah.
That actor is in at least an episode or two of Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza
Oh
Place.
my God.
I hadn't realized it, and then he plays like a post officer or a cop, and I saw him, and I was like, is that fucking Squeak Scolari?
See, now you're hitting a raw nerve for Andy, because there are two actors that he gets pissed off when you mention because they stole his career. One of them is Dean Bahar, and the other is Jonah Hill.
I am very bitter about those.
They're both. It was the 90s. 90s was Dean Bahar, and then in the 2000s, Jonah Hill. As soon as Superbad came out, Andy went, fuck this kid forever.
I love his work, man. I just, damn it.
He realized his career in acting was over because they already got one of those.
Yeah, like we were talking about in the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. I actually got called into an audition one time where it goes back to that kind of creating another human being for no reason, the Workout Kid too, where he wanted to be Vin Diesel, but they brought in only like 5 people, and they just asked me random questions, no acting at all involved. And all it was is they said straight out, we are trying to create the next Ashton Kutcher.
Wow.
That was what was on the call sheet, and that's what they told me when they came in. And it was weird because they only called 5 people in for it. And I'm sure maybe that day. But what pissed me off is we were in the middle of it, not even the middle, the first minute. And I had no idea what this was. And they're just basically documentary style sitting behind a camera asking me questions about me and my life. And the main director, there was only 2 people, just got up and left and took a phone call in the middle of it.
Oh my God, it's like real life La La Land.
Yes, I was just like, what the fuck?
Or like, Entourage, like with Johnny Drama. Remember he gets in that big fight with the guy? Yeah.
Yeah, actually, God, I know that.
Oh, that's so funny.
But yeah, it just pissed me off. And I was such in a state that I began to let that shit, like, you know, when all those people are, be more of an asshole, be more of an asshole.
I can't believe that's the note.
I'm telling you, man, they wanted me to, as a human being, they wanted me to be a bigger dick, which is wild.
But the flip side of that is they wanted you to also, you told me once that you were auditioning for like Drake and Josh or something, weren't you? Like a Disney character.
Yeah, all the time, dude. All the fucking time. Nickelodeon and Disney.
Wow.
All the fucking
So be a giant asshole or be a cookie cutter pushover Disney character.
Yeah, and so oh God. And I've never told anybody this except I think my family.
Well, it's good. We only have about 150,000 people listening.
No, it's nothing horrible, but this was who I was at that time and how I approached shit like that. Because I would get called into Disney. I'm not even kidding. Disney and Nickelodeon and all of those shows. Like I've auditioned for That's So Raven, iCarly.
Oh my God!
What?
I'm not even kidding. Like so times, like I knew the casting director by first name, and they knew me by. It was weird.
I just want to show them some of these short films you acted in for me, and then they would go, "Oh, we can't cast him."
Yeah.
No. So that's the beauty part. So I told my agent and my managers, I was like, I don't want to go to this shit anymore. I'm tired of it. I don't want to do it. I don't like it. Like, send me out on commercials. I'd rather fucking do that.
Yeah.
So no, it's you got to play the part. You got to go do. So okay. And every time what they would, I'm obviously aiming for younger, and I think it was in my mid 20s then. And they're like going out for 16 all the time, and I looked it. So.
Oh yeah, you totally did. Like if there was a Saved by the Bell back then, you could have been, easily somebody between Zach Morris and AC Slater.
Yes, fucking Screech, maybe.
No fucking way. No fucking way.
Everybody's like right now is like, what does this fucking chud look like?
Now you could be Mr. Belding.
Oh God, please.
No, Andy's definitely Mr. Belding.
That's for sure.
I drank with that guy once.
I remember that. It's
the karaoke
the
place,
karaoke bar next to NBC.
Yeah, something Toads or something.
Dennis Haskins. No, what's his name?
Yeah, Dennis Haskins.
Dennis Haskins. All right. See, I know my shit. Wow, that's fucking hilarious, man. So you told him no. You said you don't want to do it anymore.
No, so well, I told them no, and they would fucking refuse. So I had to go to these auditions, regardless.
Like refuse, like they're going to drop you as a client?
Yes, 100%. Because if you don't go out, the only money they get from me is if I get booked, right? So what the fuck is the point of having a client that doesn't want to get booked?
Yeah, right. You kind of that seems about right.
So, but here's what I would do, and I wouldn't tell my agent because every time they would be like, all right, before you go in, you got to make sure you shave everything, not body, but face.
Eyebrows.
These casting directors are weird, man. You got to shave everything but the Speedo. I'm just kidding. But they were just trying to get me into the range of looking like I was 16, which I 100% understood. So what I would do was not shave and not tell my agent or manager at the time. Oh, my
God.
Immediately would have whatever I could grow at the time, which wasn't much. And before I would go in, I would keep a bottle of vodka or whiskey in my car. And I would take, if I didn't drink it, I would at least take a shot or two and then spit it out so I smelt like alcohol. and I would chain smoke cigarettes before I went into the meeting.
Oh, it sounds like you're interviewing for a mall Santa.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, dude. And that's how I got around being cast for those stupid fucking shows, because I would sabotage the fuck out of it before I even stepped in.
You know, the rogue in me would have been like, I like this kid. I like him. Let's try him. He could be like, creepy older brother.
But here's the fucked up part. Like I said, I knew these people on a first name basis. So they kept calling me back. And I could, like, everything I did, but they wouldn't book me.
But maybe if you shaved that one time, then you would have been.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I thought about
Drake
doing
and
it.
Paul. Drake and Paul.
I would have been.
I think the tenacity of you showing up with a little smell on you, all that kind of stuff. I think that would have made me as like a showrunner go, we really should write something for him, because, there's something about him we like. He doesn't have to be like Drake in this. He could be Drake's troubled older brother, and people could relate to that.
Yeah. Isn't Drake troubled now?
I think,
One of those guys?
I mean, come on.
That could have been you.
No, but I guarantee they were like, because you got to realize that it's usually like 10 or 11 in the morning at these auditions.
Had a little Irish coffee.
So you're right, yeah, and they're just like, who the fuck? But like I said, they'd call me back, and I would have to go back in. I'd have to go back in for the same shows. And I was just like, what the fuck? Short of like pulling my pants down and just masturbating wildly in front of them, I don't know what it was or why they kept calling me back.
I'll talk about standing out in the crowd. Garrett Hedlund's reading a book. This guy's masturbating.
Yeah. I can one up Garrett Hedlund any day.
I mean, it'd be like Tom Hardy's audition for Bronson. I felt like that room would have been nuts to be in the hallway.
All greased up.
Can you imagine a bunch of actors trying to audition for Bronson? See, that's the kind of shit I wish that you would audition for, is like the crazy character parts. Because imagine people you're going up against that are, all right, I got to be the crazy. Did you ever a hallway like that where you're waiting, where it was a part where you went, oh my God, everybody's fucking nuts. What part is this?
No, there's too many pussies out there. They don't want to do it in front of other people. They don't want to practice their, it's like some will, but they won't go like full rage into it. And I'll tell you, another time I just decided that I was going to go full character before I walked into this audition.
Oh shit.
And it was playing a stoner. And at that point I had not smoked marijuana.
Marijuana.
Yeah. Hey, shh. But I hadn't smoked. I had really no prerequisite with other than being high maybe a few times.
Yeah.
So I created the character in my mind that I knew from all of the other people in my life, family members that are stoners, and just did it before. Like the moment I opened my car door, I was in character, walked in, and what I did was accidentally walk into the women's bathroom because I was so gauged on being high that I didn't notice that
You were somewhere else?
Yeah, it had the women's sign on it, and I walked in and I looked at it, I go, whoa, or whatever, and fucking turned right back out. And then I walked in the audition, and the guys, start talking to me, and I am full blown in character, not talking to them like my normal self at all. Like, when you blow the fucking doors off, and I blew the fucking doors off on that one, and it felt great.
And you still didn't get cast.
No, I didn't.
I knew it. I knew it.
But no, so here's what happened. The moment they were like, okay, would you cut your hair? Like the reading's done and everything. They're like, would you cut your hair? And I go, in my normal voice, like straight out of the stoner, I was like, yeah, I could cut it. It's no big deal. And they were like, whoa, what? And they're like, were you just acting? Like you don't speak. And I was like, no, man, I'm acting. That's what we're here for, right?
Wow, you dropped your guard?
Yeah, well, I had to. And that's what got me cast. Because they couldn't believe that I was acting. They just thought I was a fucking stoner surfer guy.
Wow.
It wasn't that. So what ended up happening was I eventually got a hold of that director, and it was for a National Lampoon's film.
Wow.
Which I wanted to do just because of the history.
It's a fucking label, man. Yeah, to be a part of that.
Yeah, and just to be a part of it. I mean, yeah, the stuff is probably garbage. They've made a lot of suspect films.
And the sad thing is they made a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. And it was just to be a part of like National Lampoon's, knowing the history. And I had contacted the guy, and he said that they had to make a ton of budget cuts, and the character got cut. So that's why I wasn't cast. So, and it's those things you can't control, and it just sucks because you're like, oh fuck! Like when you nail it like that, and you're just like, well, that's that. And like that's what is disheartening.
I love it here that you still got the sympathy sigh from Andy over here. Like he doesn't know that this is part of the fucking business.
No, I know it is, but still, when it's our friend.
See, that's also why you don't let this asshole in a room for auditions, because you're like, that person was garbage. He goes, no, we should give him a chance.
It was so nice.
I know.
Oh, God,
come on.
You're a fucking producer. Get the hell out of the room.
Yeah. Didn't you see his smile? Yeah, nice smile.
It warmed my heart.
The worst is
cats.
The worst
that guy has cats.
The worst is, hey, I met this chick in the parking lot. She's about to audition. She seems really nice. We go, she's not auditioning now. No, she's out.
Yeah, damn it.
Yep.
The younger days.
It's that famous line from, what movie is that from? Forgetting Sarah Marshall. I bet you think strippers like you too.
Yeah, dude, oh man. Jesus.
That just gave you an insight on how to get into the room for 4 scenes of film.
Just be nice to me.
Just be nice to Andy.
Just be nice to Andy? Oh,
yeah, that's all you got to do.
We're gonna bleep that out so you don't know the secret.
Jesus, but yeah, you get those situations where there was another time where I absolutely destroyed it like that. and I didn't get cast yet again. And that one I never found out why. Actually, they told me. I'll explain that one too. And that one was funny because the moment I walked in, I sat down and started doing like just reading over lines, and an actor walks in, and I go, oh, "Fuck, I know that guy," and I couldn't place it. And then a second later, I was like, "Fuck, that's Michael Pitt."
Ah,
Oh,
If you
yeah.
know who Michael Pitt is, a lot of people are. He's one of those know his face. A lot of people don't know his name.
nowadays it's been a while since he's been in something, but I mean, I remember him. You know, the Boardwalk
Boardwalk
Empire was like his biggest thing, but he famously for me was in the movie The Dreamers, the Bertolucci film from the early 2000s, which is like a Bertolucci film with a kid that young, American too. It was a pretty fucking amazing movie. As shocking as it might seem now, if anybody knows that movie, check it out.
Yeah, and also check out Hedwig and the Angry Inch.
I have not seen that yet, but I've always wanted to.
I believe he plays the boyfriend or one of the boyfriends or something in that film.
Yeah.
And I mean, phenomenal fucking actor. He's
Yeah.
one of those guys that just gets it. And
Funnily enough, got his start on Dawson's Creek.
really? Yeah. Holy shit, yeah.
A lot of people did.
Oh, wow. Well, yeah. But anyway, so I knew who he was. And right away, I'm like, well, fuck, there goes that part. Like,
Because he shows up?
yeah, that's like being in a gym and I'm going to play a quick pickup game, and then fucking Jordan walks in. Like,
Yeah, but a little bit of your ego wasn't like, all right, game on. I got to be better than
100.
Michael Pitt.
100%, and that's what it was. It drove me to be like, all right, well, we got to fucking go now. And to make sure it was him, I actually walked up and checked
His ID.
Excuse me, sir.
Hey, bud, real quick before you come in,
I'm a narc, by the way.
and then just took off with that shit. To this day, I am Michael Pitt.
Actually, that makes sense. I haven't seen you in a while.
Legally, yeah. So I was just like, fuck, dude, if I'm going for the same part, there's no fucking way. And I walk up and just to see if it's actually him. And I look, and I was going out. It was like a bio piece about, I can't remember who it was, but I was going for the lead, and I look to act. I gotta go up there and act like I'm looking at the time that I signed in or whatever to check his name. And sure enough, Michael Pitt.
Mm-hmm.
And the part that's written that he is going out for is bum.
Bum?
He's just going for a homeless guy.
Wow.
And I immediately was like, what the fuck is this film then? And he was with his agent, which is fucking insane to have your agent with you or your manager and being at that level at an audition. And that immediately I was like, what the fuck did I get into? Like, this is now something that I didn't think it was.
Like Southland Tales or some kind of shit. Like, what the hell is this movie?
Like, what the fuck? Yeah. So, and that's when I just went back to my seat and I was just like, we got to go now. And I just went into the audition, and it was one of those, where I just, yet again, like, when you nail it, and you know. And the weirdest reaction, and I've never had this as an actor before, since, like, ever. Two female casting directors, after I was done reading, stopped, and they go, first off, who were you talking to? Because they were curious, because it was very angry, dark scene. And I was, my father was who I was talking to at that time. And they go, okay, well, here's the deal. You're not going to get cast for this. It's a bio piece. You don't look enough like the guy that it's about.
Which is something they never would give you after an audition. They just say thank you very much.
That's it. You're done. You're gone and out.
Yeah.
So right away, I was just like, damn, that's cool to let you know.
Yeah.
And something now that you know is on a scale, once Michael Pitt like got involved, I was just like, well, that's weird to hear from someone like at this level too. And right after that, they go, well, here's something, you know, we want to tell you. And they went through a breakdown of how my career should go.
Whoa.
What I need to do to further my steps, change my headshots. You aren't putting off what your pictures perceived. They were like, there is something so fucking deep in you and dark and talented. And to hear this from casting directors is not even remotely fucking normal. Like,
No, this is like the hair on my neck is standing up because who are these people?
No, and these were very seasoned vets. Like, these ladies knew what they were doing. And they took 10 minutes out of their day to talk to me about my career. And that's when, like, you're like, you get dizzy.
Oh, yeah.
Whenever I'm praised in great lengths, which is very, very few and far between.
Acting.
Yeah. And it's only when it's referred to my acting. When I left NYFA, the same thing happened. I thought I was shit. And they sat us all down. I think they might have done the same with you, like each one of your teachers in a room. And they just kind of tell you what they thought about you.
Yeah. It's mortifying, but it's good for you to hear.
Yeah. And I was just like, oh, here we go. I thought I was going to be heads rolling. And all it was praise across the board.
Nice.
And it's not some bullshit misremembering trying to like make... I genuinely thought I was going to get just destroyed.
Shit, yeah.
And the same thing happened. They start giving me praise, and I almost passed out. And I've never passed out in my life. Because I was 100% expecting one outcome, and then I got another. And I almost passed out then, and I almost passed out when those ladies were going through this insane praisal of just praise. Like, you need to fix how you're perceived. And once again, it boiled down to that. A lot of people think, you know, I'm either going to be an asshole, I'm going to be a whatever, just because of, you know, dark hair, dark eyes, brooding, angry look all the time. So shit like that just kind of, you don't know what to do with it.
Well, you're
so used to rejection. Like,
I would have grabbed the first, you know, I would have grabbed the gnarliest, darkest filmmaker in Hollywood and been like, I'm going to do drugs and smoke cigarettes with you for 6 months and we're going to make a movie. Because it seems you know, you should have went hardcore against the grain, like no more auditions, no more cattle calls. You need to go and like meet Jim Jarmusch, or, you know, you need to meet somebody who's like fucking nuts, but in a great, crazy way.
Yeah, that's what I needed, I think, at that time. And I also heard I heard Colin Farrell talk about this recently in an interview, and he was talking about him being his career, the way it started just out of nowhere like that, and just became an it boy for that industry. And he said, I believe there was one interview where he was talking about filming one of his films, and he was so drunk that he doesn't remember a second. Like, he does not remember an entire second of filming the movie.
Do we know what movie it was?
Yeah, it's a Michael Bay one, I believe. I can't remember what the fuck. It's Two Cops. It's like a Two Cops one. Buddy cop. It might not be Michael Bay, but...
Can't remember it right now, but that's okay. Not Daredevil.
It's no. It was the whole shit. He was fucking Crosshairs in that movie or whatever?
Bullseye.
Stupid. Yeah. Oh my god.
Once again, I know more of this shit than Andy does. Andy's Googling, and I'm literally I'm naming Marvel characters.
No, I was looking up the Colin Farrell thing.
It's Crosshair or whatever. He's got. I don't remember the character name, but he's got the crosshair in the middle of his forehead that's burnt in.
We're talking about the Cops movie? We're talking about Daredevil.
No, Daredevil.
Yeah, is his character's name Bullseye?
Yeah, Bullseye. That's Bullseye.
Fuck you, Andy. Fuck you, Andy.
Crosshairs, fucking Bullseye, Crosshairs, whatever.
I'm trying to look up the buddy cop film.
Anyway, Colin Farrell is telling a story.
So, and his basic thing was just like, at that age, you don't want to pretend. Basically, he was like, you're pretending not to care.
Right, when you're early, right?
If you show... Yeah, and if you show that because he very much cared about his career, he just didn't know how to go about it. And it seemed ridiculous for him to reach out and be like, I care. So instead, I'm just going to do the opposite and do drugs and alcohol. And
was it SWAT?
Yeah, no, not SWAT. It's a buddy cop film. I'm telling you.
I can see the poster, actually. I know the movie you're talking about. Because he's like
Miami Vice?
He's side you.
Yes. Miami Vice.
That's Michael Mann, actually, yeah.
Michael Mann, close.
That's pretty incredible, though. In a Michael Mann movie, that dude takes his filmmaking that seriously that he let this guy be that drunk.
No, I don't think anybody knew. He was fucking
wow.
some people, I had a boss call me the most functional drunk they've ever met in my life. It's just a compliment, but a compliment because all she knew were rock stars and entertainers.
It's a sad compliment.
Yeah, I was like, out of all of those people, I'm the, oh boy, bud.
Alfred Brooks used to call that a complisalt.
But I really, once I heard that phrase, it was something I wish I would have heard when I was younger. Because
I know.
I cared so fucking deeply, but the only way that I could not care was to flush myself with any kind of alcohol or drug to like numb the fact that I wasn't being cast or wasn't this, you know, and yeah, that hit a chord with me so much because I was just like, damn, that is so true. Well, and it hit a chord because I sat and talked to that guy at a U2 concert. I was working for an hour.
Wow.
And we did not 1 second talk about film or acting or anything. That guy is one of the nicest people I've ever met.
I always heard that, man. He said that when he first got to LA, he would go out to bars in Los Angeles and he knew he was always going to have a good night because of his accent. He'd go out and he would say, either I'm going into a pub and I'm going home with, you know, all the dudes in the pub because we're partying together, or there's a girl that I'm going to meet and she wants to take me home because of my accent.
Yep, 100%.
And you're like, damn it.
And he is devastating. He is one of those people that when I met him and I'm sitting there talking to him, I was like, damn, you look way more handsome in person than you do on camera.
Which is rare because you see, oh my God, you see some of these people, you know, without makeup and everything, especially now, actors, especially actresses, you know, that social media influencers and stuff. If you ever, you know, people start talking about how beautiful people are and you Google without makeup, it's not that they're not beautiful without makeup, because I actually think most people nowadays are better looking without all that shit on their face, but they're just drastically different.
Yeah, I've always been a fan of no makeup and unconventional kind of looks and beauty. Like, you know, typical people are going to go after like, oh, like, God, I was about to date myself with saying an actress.
No, you got to do it now.
No, first person was just like
Gloria Swanson. No. How old are you, Paul? Jesus.
Bette Midler.
Ooh, baby.
I love beaches.
Hubba.
She's I know I was just gonna go with like a classic beauty, like a Rebecca Romijn Stamos.
Oh, there you go. That's not dating. I mean, if that's dating, Jesus Christ.
But like an era when she was very popular to now. But I was always more into like the Christina Ricci's.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Darker, weirder, those kind of. And it's all a preference for that. Why the fuck am I even talking about that? Well, Colin Farrell and good looks. And
right.
Yeah, that's why we're
and he's the opposite because he's naturally good beauty. No.
And a very nice gentleman. Oh man, that was the funnest part, was actually just talking to him. And the reason we talked so long was because I wasn't like, oh fuck, you're Colin Farrell, like everybody I'm sure in his fucking life doesn't know him.
Yeah. That's always the way. If you just be normal, then normal people will talk to you. It's the same with anybody if you're in a bar and you show too much enthusiasm for somebody sitting next to you, whether they're famous or not. Yeah, they're gonna go like, "What the fuck is this guy's from? Why is he talking to me like I'm like important or something?"
Exactly. And we just sat and talked, I think, about concerts and random shit that we were doing for like an hour, and then I went back to my production office and everybody was just like, what the fuck, dude? Like, how did you sit and talk? I'm like, he's a human being that has emotions, and you can just go talk to him. It wasn't something, we just sat there and chain smoked and talked. But,
see, I had the same story, but it was with Aaron Carter at the House of Blues.
Wow. Hey, at least he was cool, I guess.
Lucky dog.
I sat and talked to that guy for 3 hours.
Yeah, man.
Rest in peace, man.
Oh shit, he is dead. Oof.
Yeah, he rolled through town, and boy, oh boy, I wasn't supposed to tell anybody he was smoking cigarettes.
Uh-oh. Aaron, you got up to worse.
Today's episode of the Four Seasons of Film podcast is brought to you by Phil's Coffee. Phil's specializes in handcrafted coffee made one cup at a time. Visit a location today or find them on the web at philscoffee.com. That's Phil's with a Z, coffee.com. Find the beans you're looking for.
Well, it's interesting what you're saying about kind of this kind of what we would call imposter syndrome now. You wish your early years. I guess I would think it's something similar. In your early years.
I've never heard that. I've just never heard that phrase before.
Oh, okay, yeah. I mean,
that's more of my what? It fits. Yeah.
But it is. It's this idea that you're trying for this position, this career, and you're pretending like you belong, but secretly you're an imposter, and everybody's going to find you out.
Yeah.
And that's huge in this industry, and it's all over the place because I genuinely think every single person, not even in this industry, but in life, has imposter syndrome to some degree. That it's just when people are willing to admit it or not.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's not a lot of people are willing to admit their downfalls.
Yeah, and especially people in their early 20s that are going into something like acting or writing and directing or whatever Andy does. But
everything. That's what I did. Everything.
Everything.
But in your
of all trades,
he's like the sizzler of this business.
All you can eat. All you can eat, baby.
Fucking Shoney's.
Hey, no, I'm better than a show.
That's the East Coast version of the sizzler. People don't know about that. Yeah.
Shoney's, that's an insult. Sorry.
Yeah, it was.
Jesus, man, I
went from being on a pedestal at the top of this podcast for my acting acumen.
Now you're
to a
fucking Shoney's.
Yeah.
There's no way you could stand on a pedestal. Anyway.
People right now are like, Google Shoney's. Alexa, what is a Shoney's?
We lost everybody at the Marvel Talk, believe me. You can see the ratings dip. But
like we can see Marvel's ratings dip. Oh, fuck yeah.
So the imposter syndrome you were feeling, and you're saying that out loud now, you wish that you could have been a certain way, but you used kind of like drugs or alcohol or something. And
well, it was to numb.
To numb, exactly, because you felt like you needed to numb to show up a certain way. I can totally relate to that. I can totally look back on my early days in this business and think the same thing, because now that I'm quote unquote comfortable showing up on set and knowing I'm a director, I know my job, I know what I'm doing. If I only would have just felt comfortable like I am now back then. And it's a fallacy, by the way. I think that I always think the work would have been so much better, but that's bullshit, because the work's not going to get better unless you put in the work and get through the awkward phase and get through the imposter syndrome as best as you can, which I still have to this day, but it's to a lesser degree than when I was fucking 18. I was the youngest person in my class in film school, and just starting out knowing that was a hurdle to get over. It didn't matter how good I was. It didn't matter if I made a great short that week. It didn't matter if I got praise. It was, no, there's this 18-year-old kid and fuck him because we're all 24.
Exactly. And that's the funny part, is saying it doesn't matter if you got praise, because if you did get praise or were, and which I know you did, that made them fucking hate you more. And that's just so counterproductive to what I thought that whole idea of those schools were.
Exactly. It didn't make sense to me that it was competitive in the way it was. I thought we were all there to make great art together and to celebrate this thing. I didn't realize that we were all in competition with each other's egos when nobody should have had any fucking egos, because nobody had any fucking work. Nobody knew if you were good or not.
Exactly. And it's so, I think you got it way worse, because I think directors in that sense are more competitive. Because with actors, you can tell that, I'm going to walk in and Jane and Billy Bob over there aren't going to be going out for the same parts that I am. But you guys could potentially be going out for the same work. And that's where I think you got a different experience with that competitiveness. Because I don't think there's really an ounce of competitiveness in the acting program.
Well, I think, you show up as an actor, you do your thing, and then the work's done. And as a director, you walk on set and you're in charge of 16 people. And so they're all looking to you. And in that case, when you're young, they're just waiting for you to make a mistake on scheduling or craft service, or you don't know where to put the light, or it's just they're waiting to trip you up because they see 18 doesn't know what he's doing. And so I think that's where I developed like a lot of my confidence, because if you showed that you did have fear, then they would jump on it, even more. And that, I mean, you really had to learn to, in a really shitty way, at least I did, you had to learn to get so tough because, and just numb yourself to these people's inner bullshit that's all about them, by the way. It has nothing to do with you. And, you know, if you can just numb yourself to a degree to go, all right, if I'm strong enough to manage a set of all these people that are so much older than me, and my film turns out even close enough to what I want it to be, then I think I'm a pretty fucking good director.
Yeah, exactly. But that's a world of difference between, and I praise to those guys that do acting, directing. You know,
oh yeah,
as you are one to do.
It's amazing, man. It is amazing that, you know, you take these guys that can trust. I think it's just trust. You can trust people for just to suspend reality so you can, when the camera's rolling, to do your job and do it well enough, and that's going to transfer to be a believable performance afterwards. And you yell cut and go like, all right, now I got to think about all the fucking donuts that haven't been ordered. You know, like,
yeah, exactly. And it takes a lot of vulnerability on everybody's part, I think, when you're making a film, because to be an actor and walk on the set, and like, if you have to do something heavy or anything of that matter, of like, if you're a good actor and you get into it, that is so fucking draining.
Oh yeah.
It's a lot to go through. And if you do it right, I think, if you just phone in some bullshit at performance, whether it's, and I'm talking like comedy and drama and everything, like, it is about exposing yourself to a degree you're not comfortable with.
It should be. Yeah.
It should be. And I think with a lot of that shit in those schools, it immediately created this like breeding ground of like competition for no reason at all. And if they're this competitive now with zero work experience, think of those people 10 years down the road who didn't grow up and are the same fucking person.
Well, it's why I can
make sets a living hell.
I can name, of like the 35 kids that were in my directing class, I think 2 of us that I know of have actually made a feature film.
Oh, wow.
And that to me is, I don't know why you spent all that money to go. Because if you just went back to the job that you had before, or you just wanted to get on set, you know, and work on set, or something else, why go unless the goal was to make a movie, multiple movies, and keep making movies? Yeah. I understand we all have to pay the bills, which is why I was a fucking bartender for a decade after graduating from film school. But, you know, that also taught me all those different life lessons that I still applied to the craft that that I pursued. But it still doesn't make sense to me that people put themselves through a grinder like film school and then come out on the other end and learn nothing.
Yeah, it was totally wild to me. That happened a lot there. I know. Because I didn't stay in contact with almost any of the actors after I left.
Yeah.
As much as love as I got for them, I didn't really give a shit, to be honest.
Yeah.
Most of them were just people. I mean, and I know it was like 8 years of tight work together and blah, but nah, man, that's the same thing like when I would tour and people like, tour family, we're all family now. And I'm like, no, you are somebody I did work with for a month and a half.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing about production is once it's over, it's over. And, you know, it is sentimental and you are family, but when it ends, it's kind of, that's it.
Yeah. But I think with that ending, a lot of people didn't know what to do. And I think I was one of maybe 2 people that got an agent, and it took me a week to get an agent.
Damn.
All I did was what my teachers told me, and I sent out my headshot and resume and a cover letter, just basically saying, you know, can I come in and audition or read?
Here I am.
And I sent out like 100 of those to different various agents and managers.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody else from my school got picked up, and it took me no time. And then I got a manager shortly after that. It's
crazy that putting yourself out there is what they told you to do. You did it and it worked, and nobody else did it.
Nobody, yeah. Because I think I talked to some of them afterwards for a while, and I was just like, you like got anything biting? And they're like, no, I'm going back home. And it was like a month, man. I was like, you were out here for 8 months, like a month, and you give up? Like to me, it just did not. I don't know. Unless you're going to go home and make films, which I know they didn't.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, I lost contact with all of them too. I don't know what they're doing. It's just that's the thing. I think maybe more have made films, but it feel like I would have known though. You know, you feel like you've seen these people trying to promote themselves, getting themselves out there, trying to make it under the wall or over the wall.
Yeah, you went on a wild trip about that too, and a young actor I had met while I was doing concerts. And him and I got along great just for being human beings. We immediately enjoyed each other's company, like right away, just as friends. And as through talking, we found out that he was an actor, and he found out I was an actor as well. Well, big surprise in LA. And we just had these discussions like every once in a while. Like I wish him and I would have met up more after work and pushed it more at each other in that sense.
Yeah.
And I remember we were at that U2 show as well. Another night, we were working and we were sitting in a van, not doing anything of any nature, marijuana wise or anything.
Marijuana again.
There were no needles, I swear.
Yeah. Just because we're working doesn't mean we can't have fun.
It's the music business.
Yeah, exactly. So all we're doing is just sitting there. Oh man, I don't even know because this might be bad for him. No, he's publicly talked about it. So I remember, and he was very upset and just kind of getting bummed about acting and not being able to get parts. And I was just like, man, I was just like, just stick with it. And I was like, the only reason that I was being sent out at the time is I had the popular skater kind of dirty guy look, and it was popular in that era.
Yeah. So
I explained that to him. And he's an Asian guy. So I was just like, you're going to get sent to parts you don't want to partake in.
Yeah, it's stereotypes, yeah.
The fuck out of it. So I was just like, dude, just stick with it. Like, hopefully, it'll change. And I know you enjoy this. You love this. So I was just like, don't quit. Because he was done. He was like, I'm just done. He was like, I'm progressing in the music industry, so I'm just going to do that. And, start stage managing concerts. And I remember, just stick with it. Well, let me give you two of his credits as of late. Let's see. He is one of the pilots in the newest Top Gun Maverick film.
Wow.
He is also the jumper in Quantum Leap.
Wow.
The lead for that show. And I will never forget that conversation because I felt, looking back on it, I feel so glad that he was willing to talk to me about it. And maybe he took my advice and maybe he didn't. Maybe he listened to somebody else.
That's amazing.
The fact that he did not give up that day and I played some little part in that, and where he's at now is, I love it. I'm so happy for that guy.
Absolutely. I mean,
Raymond Lee, by the way. Raymond Lee. Very, very good actor.
See, and
he's also in Kevin Can You Fuck Himself, or great shows.
I love the title.
No, it's the name of it's the daughter of Stephen Levy. She was in Schitt's Creek. It's the daughter from Schitt's Creek.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So he was in a TV show with her as well.
I love see that the story reminds me of my favorite stories too, because I think we're very similar, and we like to be vulnerable with people because I think it pays off in dividends more than it does if you show up knowing, thinking that you know everything when you're on set or in this business. Oh, I'm somebody big, you just don't know it yet, or I'm about to break, or I've got it all figured out. And you just know those people you could just push over with a leaf because their ego is so brittle, versus the person that's frustrated, wanting to talk to you. It seems like there's way more of the people that have it all figured out than there are people that are willing to admit that this is really hard and frustrating.
Yeah, and you gotta realize too, at that point, him and I had never even talked about acting. Wow. And it was this very, we would talk about it here and there, but never in depth. And it was a sore subject because the people that ran my concert production hiring, so whenever they would hire me for jobs, through Live Nation, and it was Clear Channel prior to that, they also had a secondary company called Red Rock Entertainment, which is now massive. I think they just did the release of Fast 10 or
Fast
13
X.
or,
One of the fasts. One of the fasts.
They did all the release for those movies and Rome and all that shit.
I just feel like those movies are like a diet, like Fast 10, Fast 9.
I've watched like 2 of them. It's just,
Andy, you've seen Tokyo Drift and
The
Fast 10.
first one, Tokyo Drift, and like the 8th or 9th one.
let me tell you, it is still fast and furious.
I'm furious it's still going on.
30
It's all about
years
family.
later. No. But yeah, it was just those situations like that. And what it was that they ran a management company for actors as well. And they hired him and me, but they only asked to manage me for acting. And they had known him for years before me, and they knew he was an actor. And that's why him and I would never talk, because it was such a sore.
You goddamn son of a bitch, Paul. What are you doing?
See, the thing
Why are you
is,
cutting him out?
it wasn't Paul's fault, you prick.
Yeah, it was Paul's fault, man.
What? Don't listen to this.
Never mind.
Pay no attention to the
Don't
man
worry
behind
about
the iron gates. Oh my God, I didn't know he was still here. Anyway, yeah, you're gonna love this. So about a year before COVID, I took an acting class locally. And because I had acted before, in high school on the plays and stuff, and I'd acted here and there in my shorts. But I just felt like, if I'm studying filmmaking and I want to be better at it, directing, writing, and everything, well, I feel like I have to fancy myself knowing what it's like if I'm going to direct these people and tell them and communicate with them what I want from them. So why don't I put myself in that position? So I go out to this acting class with a friend of mine, and we go in, and it turns out it's not really an acting class. It's an acting for auditions class. So they're teaching you basically how to audition, which really, really bummed me out because I didn't want to audition. And I wanted to take an acting class and do scene study and do Meisner and all these things, right? What am I going to do? It was $400. So literally,
Coach.
Yeah, I'm in there, and I outed myself and said I'm a director, and I'm taking an acting class because I want to know what it's like to be an actor in front of the camera. And Get out! No directors.
I
actually thought that was going to go more have bigger sway than it did. It didn't. Nobody gave a shit at all. But
nobody's like, "Ooh, a director! Here's a potential lead into films."
That's what I thought.
No one asked you to be in anything.
Yeah. No, a bunch of mindless.
That's
stuff.
That's what speaks to me as the acting community. You have 20 students in there going like, "Hey, I should be nice to this guy." They didn't give a shit at all.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, you make films? I'm about to star in them." Like, what the? No, you dumbass.
Yeah. Can I see your IMDb, please?
And it's hard that you don't know don't ever talk shit to anyone.
Anybody.
Like, that van that night and was just like, "Hey, Ray, go fuck yourself. Give up, you pussy."
Exactly.
Like, he would probably be in the same spot he would be in, but he would have a hatred for me that grew on a daily basis.
I can imagine. I still think about the Oscar speech and all the people I'm going to not thank.
Just Snoop Dogg it. I want to thank myself.
Exactly. Or what's the Kanye speech, Andy?
Some people would ask, what would happen if I didn't win this award? I guess we'll never know.
That's my favorite.
George Bush hates black people.
Yeah. Now that's the Kanye speech of all time.
Yeah, that is.
Short, sweet, and concise, man.
But anyway,
funniest thing.
I'm in this acting class, and the teacher is an older Asian American gentleman, and he's telling this class, the very first class, that don't go for auditions that you're not gonna get. Meaning he said, look at me. I'm going to go out and they're going to stereotype me, and I'm going to get only these bit parts. Don't shoot for any bigger than that because that's not realistic. And I just was slapping my head going like, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. I understand it makes sense on a level of, okay, if you want to go out and try to get work and just build up your credits and get into this industry, but I think it's so counterintuitive to, again, pigeonhole yourself into one thing in this industry. You're never going to break out of that if you have such low expectations.
I'm hearing that, and the discomfort in my voice isn't from anything other than I would have told that guy to go fuck himself immediately and walked out of the class.
I mean, I tried.
Like, I understand why it's $400 and you're not going to get that back. Like, this guy's going to be like, oh, let me return your $400 after you told me to politely fuck myself.
Right. He didn't give me my money back when I quit.
And that's really?
You want to hear that story?
Well, but that's what I mean. That's the old adage, that if you can't, those who can't do teach.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, everybody's had bad teachers and good teachers, but it's another one of those things. It's like film school where, okay, this guy should have been up there as a facilitator to make these people better, ask them what their journey was supposed to be, what they want it to be, what they want out of this class, not set an agenda and expectations of what to expect from an industry that you're teaching a $400 acting class in a community center down the street out in the suburbs of San Francisco. Okay, so let's not act like we're gods here. How about we just have a good time and facilitate good acting?
Yeah, exactly. But it's the whole rigmarole of like the local theater man who thinks he's the most amazing thespian. And those people are shit, because if they were so amazing, then why the fuck aren't you on stuff?
And you didn't. It's not that you didn't get your big breaks. It's all of your attitude. You just look at this guy and go, you know what? Shoot for the stars, dude. Because like your friend, at that time, the skater type and everything was in, so you got cast more. And look what's happened now. I mean, look at Best Picture. Everything Always at Once. When it's all Asian actors, and it's come full circle to it's that guy's time now. Which it's great. So all you got to do is just keep your dream alive and just keep doing it.
Yeah, and that guy I think is about 100% proof, because he is my age as well, and it really started clicking in the last handful of years. And that's because Hollywood finally revolutionized to the idea that there are more than white people in the world. Exactly,
and not everybody just wants to watch white people.
Yeah, sorry, that sounds very harsh, but I think it was pretty evident throughout.
I mean, that's what's happening. And there are these other communities out there that go to the movies and want to be represented. And yes, they need to be represented, and people will go see these movies.
Yeah, but I think there is a criminal amount of people being like, you can't cast that person because they're not. Like, the whole situation, like, simple one would be Big Mouth on Netflix, where they made, Jenny Slater or whatever her name is?
Jenny Slate.
Yeah, step down because she's not an African American, but she voiced that character so well. Like Bart Simpson, that's a white woman. What the fuck does it matter? This is acting.
I know that. This is a huge debate amongst everyone in the industry right now. It's so terrifying that you can't just cast exactly who the part is, because that, like you said, that's not what acting is. Anybody should be able to play any part. I am the biggest champion for inclusivity, and I want to give everybody's voice that hasn't been, portrayed on screen a voice and as many opportunities. But at the same time, if it's the best person for the part, that's the person that gets the part.
That's the key, and I think a lot of people are just going into that push for the woke culture where they're like, we'll cast everyone and everything, where you've now kind of thrown a stick in the system, because now you're casting specifically for like race and sexuality or whatever it may be, when you're not working and looking at the actual actor and what they can give to the performance. And I think that disconnect is being replaced. It's like just a disconnect, and it's being replaced in weird ways where it shouldn't, because it should go to the best actor regardless, or whoever fits that part appropriately. And I see both sides of it, and it's the thing is, it shouldn't be that sensitive of a topic. but it is.
Exactly. The talent pool deserves to be opened up, but it still means that if this person is better than this person, we should basically cast like we used to do it in band in for chairs where basically the director turns around and just listens to the person play or act, and whoever sounds better like they're the best part, they get it. Oh shit, I didn't know what you looked like. That's the point.
No, exactly. And that'd be the only really, it's just a never ending them against this against, and it's just going to be a battle forever. But I mean,
don't get me started on fucking nepotism.
Jesus.
I mean, even Tom Hanks coming out going like, listen, nepotism doesn't exist. Okay. We're an acting family. And I'm going, Tom Hanks, I love you, but don't make me have a reason to say fuck Tom Hanks.
Yeah, exactly.
Like you're an acting family.
You're going to tell me Chet is on the same level as
Well, he has this new movie out. It's called Man Called Otto, Tom Hanks. And there's the older character. He obviously plays himself. And then they cut to a flashback, and there's a kid that looks just like him playing his younger self in his 20s. And I look at Andy and I go, that's Tom Hanks' younger kid. I would bet money on. That's not CGI. That's not, age or whatever they call it. That is his younger kid. And you look it up and you go,
goddamn,
Tom, you're not an acting family if you just put your youngest kid in as you. As the younger self. That is not acting. That is just, he looks like me.
That's good casting, though.
I mean, it's great casting, but I miss the days of the 80s and 90s where there was movies where they put the younger version that looked nothing like the older version at all. It's just like you're supposed to just swallow this pill. Like, okay, I guess that's young James Cameron. He's the director.
Yeah, but the greatest part about that is I love when they do older, younger. And the one thing that they always do is they leave the hairstyle the same.
Oh, yeah.
They haven't changed it.
I'm 5 years old and I've had the same, I'm 40 now and I have the same fucking haircut.
Did you ever see, I don't know what it was on, maybe it was SNL, but when Steve Buscemi shows up and he's a teenager, but he looks just like Steve Buscemi. He's like, hey kids, I'm just a normal teenager.
30 Rock.
Was it 30 Rock?
I think so.
Oh my God. That still makes me laugh to this day.
Playing a high school teacher or a high school student trying to do fucking basically jump 21 Jump Street.
And that's exactly what I was going to say. That it takes me back to the 21 Jump Street days. You go, Johnny Depp looks like he has a cocaine addiction and smokes cigarettes by the pack. And he's like, I'm 16.
Oh my God, dude. I'm sorry, but I can't get that image of Steve Buscemi out because he's got a striped shirt on.
And with the hat. With the
backward blue hat.
Holding a skateboard.
Hat. Yeah, holding a skateboard. Hey guys.
Hey, regular teenagers, I'm just like you.
Do you know where I can score some marijuana?
We gotta end. We gotta end it, Paul, because we have to go. But how many hours did we do? 2 hours?
2 hours and 10 minutes.
But we have to have you back. We're gonna have to split this one into a 2-parter because we only do an hour. But that's even great because we don't have to record one next week.
Yeah, fuck yeah, double the work.
But promise me you will come back on this because this was too much fun.
Oh, I would love to. There is about a endless list of things I can talk to you guys about regarding music industry and the acting industry and just ridiculous shit that I got up to being a part of both of those worlds.
Well,
at the time.
We don't always have to make it acting. I like the first one that we did it with acting, but we do another thing where we talk about the industry and where everything's are. And then we have a topic where we do what do we do? Yeah. We spin the wheel. What is it called, Andy?
Random movie generator.
It's called Random Movie Generator, where we just literally random generate a movie and we have to talk about it. And then there's another one where we literally do a topic. It's called We Talk Too Much, which is my favorite one, where we just talk about anything.
Oh my God, please, yeah. I'll come on for anytime. I sit at home and make leather work all the time now.
S&M, huh?
Yeah, you do.
Everybody goes to S&M.
That's what Andy said. And I said, if you say that to him, I swear to God.
I refrain myself. Actually, Paul has made me a very nice wallet. He has great skills.
I'm picturing the guy from Seven that gets the thing made for him special, and
the strap on.
He made me put it on. He made me do it.
Is that what you're doing, Paul?
Yeah.
Listen, people bring in weird shit. I make it.
But that is a great performance by that actor, by the way.
Amazing. And that's the kind of actor we should know the name of because he deserves his due credit. And that's the fucked up part about this industry. I know 1,000 actors.
He's in Marvel, too. He's in Marvel movies. He's in the X-Men movie.
He's in 1,000 great movies. That's a character actor right there. Nobody ever talks about.
Yeah, he's a fucking great guy. Great guy. He could be a complete piece of shit.
Well, that's true. In movies, he portrays a very great actor.
Yeah, good actor.
Very good actor.
He make act good.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much. This was a blast. It was so much better company than I usually have on this podcast with just Andy.
Oh, boo-hoo. Boo-hoo.
Which I literally think he fell asleep during the podcast.
I loved it because I didn't have to
You didn't have to talk. You didn't have to do anything.
I didn't have to placate you and be like, yes, all right, let's talk about Fellini again.
Yeah, Andy didn't have to placate me with actual knowledge or film history. That's what he didn't have to do.
But you know,
oh my God, I'm sorry.
I think the oldest reference Paul had was like the 80s, Andy. Sorry, that was too late.
No, I got it. I enjoyed it, man. And you know, connecting with a fellow actor.
Paul, before you go, I always ask. Did you say fellow actor?
That's right.
Yeah, I did.
That's right.
Okay, wait a second. What was the last thing you acted in, Eddie?
Track Shack.
Did you actually go into character, or did you just fall down? Because guy falls down. That's always funny.
No, I went into character for the roadie. For that, the first day when we did the pickups, no, I was just me.
All right, when we have Paul back, I want you two to talk about your process,
man.
Your process to Paul. We're going to send him our latest short film. It's called To Le Mans.
Award-winning.
It's going to play in Amsterdam in August, and it stars Andy and Andy only.
Oh boy!
And I promise it will not disappoint. It's an award-winning short film.
Award-winning.
Nobody has seen this film because it's on the festival circuit. We'll send it to you, Paul, and maybe that's when we'll have you back so you can talk about acting with Andy.
Oh boy. Okay. Well, that is just delightful.
And he has no training, shockingly.
I have some training.
Yeah, that's me directing you.
And
actually, real quick, I remember one time where I gave you a very simple, like an acting cue. It was just very basic, and it was when we were doing the musical.
Oh, yes.
Suburban Idiot.
You kept saying this fucking line like you were some,
Was he a cop?
I was like a teenager in it.
I think you played a teenager, but you could not naturally say the line for the life of you.
That makes sense.
It was almost like watching Christopher Walken try to do an impression of Christopher Walken.
30 years later, Paul, let me tell you, it's the same.
But it was just so awkward. I was just say the fucking line naturally. And you just kept doing it, and I go, okay, fine. I just stopped. I stopped everything, and I was like, okay, say the line. And you were like, whatever the line was, fairly short, like 5 words.
That's always the hard ones.
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, Jimmy, we got to go over there.
Yeah, I think that was it.
Your 5 words compared to my 90 pages of fucking dialogue. Fucking madman.
Hey, I played double duty, and I was playing guitar too, man.
And I sang. You can't see the air quotes.
That's a story for another podcast.
Yeah, we'll go into that. We'll go into this, our musical in a different podcast because that's a 2-hour podcast.
Yeah, and then we'll cut in songs from it.
Just a fucking giant Monty Python skit.
Hey, Paul, you can sing, right? Come and do a musical. I can't sing. Do it anyway.
You'll be fine. You can talk. You can sing.
Yeah, we figured it out.
We figured it out. We made it. We made it work.
We nailed it.
Right.
But you couldn't say the goddamn line, and I remembered one simple fucking trick to get you out of your brain. And I was like, say the line. So you said the line, and I go, say the line. You said the line. I was like, say the line. You're like, I could see the repetitiveness was getting annoying to you.
Meisner.
Yeah, right. And I go, and I was like, say the line backwards. And you just stopped. And you were like, and you sat there and fumbled with it for a bit. And then I go, now say the line. And you said the line. And it was the most natural, perfectly spoken line of dialogue you've ever done that I've encountered.
Yes.
And that was it. Because you just had to get out of your head because you were trying to create this performance that didn't exist.
Where the fuck were you for 30 years? I got to use this tool on this asshole.
You were standing there.
I don't remember this shit at all.
I don't remember this at all either.
I'm a fucking director, man. I have no memories.
No, my memory is like a fucking.
I was like, fuck, I gotta act and then I gotta go run off stage and I gotta play the song.
Wow.
Oh, and by the way, when we were talking about one thing, the Johnny Depp thing,
Yeah.
I took the tactic of going to a table read with no prerequisite on reading the script.
Right.
I opened the fucking script, and my character had no dialogue. He just fucking mumbled because he had suffered a throat injury.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So I read this and I'm like, how the fuck do I do this? I was so lost, and I had to I was looking at the director and trying to find what, and he just kept thumbs upping me way to go, guys.
Yeah.
And I had to make my way through an hour and a half of all these people reading and me just randomly going.
I'd be like, this acting thing's not that hard, guys.
Yeah, but it was so fucking awkward to be in that situation. I have no real dialogue. And, oh fuck! And now it was very, very bad, and I never took that technique ever again.
I'm going to send you two short films. One is the Tout le Monde, which is the one that's on the festival circuit. The other is I was trying to get a job for Jordan Peele's Twilight Zone remake. Do you ever see this film?
Oh. No, I've not seen it, but I know he was doing the remake.
Yeah, so I sent in a director's reel, which was a remake of an old Twilight Zone episode that I really loved because I thought that would set myself apart, and I didn't get the job, but I made a pretty damn good Twilight Zone episode starring Andy and, our friend Bryson, and oh my God, it's a damn good film, but it was Andy's first dramatic role, and not only dramatic, his first starring dramatic role in a short film. So it's all Andy for 30 minutes, and he has to go from the entire range of emotions, and it's something to watch. I hope he watches it. Yeah, I
cringe. I love watching myself. There's two things we've done where I don't like watching myself. That's one of them.
What's the other one?
And then the other one is
sex tape.
No, pretty much.
No, I'm proud. I am proud.
It was.
I fucked like a champ.
No, it's micro spandex is not.
That's another different story. Andy played the Grinch one time. He didn't realize he was wearing a bodysuit that showed his manhood in the cold weather.
It was December outside. And anyway, but yeah.
Now everybody in this podcast is going to Google that. You just gave them free range.
No, we took that one down.
Jesus. To cap off that casting experience, that table read rather, and to show you how fucked up people are in that industry, I was sitting next to the girl who was reading the other co-lead for the female.
Yeah.
And when we finished, we're all going through everybody's putting their input, and she stops everybody, and this is a white girl, and goes, so I was just curious, since the lead, and she looks at me because I was out for the lead, she was like, well, that's kind of a white guy cowboy, right? And the kind of, yeah, it's a classic cowboy. And then she goes, but and she looks at me, tilts her head, and does the Mexican.
Oh.
And I was just like,
oh,
what the actual
wow.
For one, I'm not Hispanic. I believe it's in my bloodline. It's mixed in there. But
1/4 Cherokee.
Yeah.
No, I am Native American. I've got plenty of Native, as everybody says they do, but yeah, I do.
Yours is real.
It doesn't matter.
Yours is real.
The gall to say that, I was just like, what the fuck? Dude?
Oh, the ignorance.
The racism and the ignorance behind that comment was just mind blowing.
Oh, we keep having to tell these stories. I got one more too. Yeah, okay. All right. So the same actor that I was telling you we had to fire in the first feature we made.
Yes.
The same actor. He took my lead out for a cigarette, and the lead told me this later. He goes, he said, I said, what were you guys doing out there? He goes, well, I said an interesting conversation with blah, blah, blah. And he goes, yeah, he asked me, it was at the table read, right before the table read. Sorry. Right before the table read, we were doing it at this restaurant upstairs, and they were at the bar, and we were all going upstairs, we're gathering, and the guy looks at my lead and goes, so you're playing Lena? And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, you really think you can do this? And the guy goes, well, I mean, yeah, you know, Nathan and I are really good friends, and you know, we've been rehearsing before this, and yeah, I got it. And the guy took a long drag of his cigarette, blew the smoke out, and goes, I don't believe you. And then he walked upstairs and did the table read in 40 different languages.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I was told this story afterwards and I fell over laughing. But obviously Eileen didn't think it was funny, but I thought it was fucking hilarious.
This guy had so many gems.
I mean, oh my God. Just like he was Robert De Niro for those kind of situations.
Holy shit.
What kind of mind fuck was that?
The cigarette smoke had to have been fucking magical to witness. Like,
Seriously.
Yeah.
Because I know, and here's what it is. That asshole saw that in the film.
Totally. It was like he was in the film was a noir. It was a fucking 40s noir. So he was like auditioning for this guy.
What? Fine.
Oh God.
I don't believe you, darling.
Yeah, see?
Yeah.
That was one of his voices.
Like the guy's gonna come away and go, you know, you should give Kev a couple more lines.
Fuck. Yeah, we gave him the ultimate line. Get out.
All right.
What a Jesus.
We gotta go. We gotta go.
All right, yeah, we gotta stop.
We got a heart out.
This has gone way too long.
No, it's the perfect amount for me. I could do three. It's like a fucking Joe Rogan podcast.
well,
I could do this for 3 more hours.
We gotta get it over to the editor, and the editor has to edit it.
Andy's rubbing himself.
I've been on DMT this whole time anyway. So.
Pass it out next time.
I thought it was just marijuana.
Well, DMT, and don't worry about it, man. I'm just Joe Roganing my life up.
What are you, a fucking narc, Andy? Jesus.
No, the third time we mentioned marijuana. It's rule of 3.
Again, are you a narc? You're counting the times we mentioned drugs?
Hashtag writing, hashtag filmmaking.
You know?
That's how writing is done for humor. Rule of 3.
When I was in film school, when people used to smoke marijuana, I used to ask them where they got it.
Why can't we just say weed?
That's 4. You ruined it. You brought it up one more.
Listen, I did it at every party we went to. I used to go, "Where'd you get this?" And they go, "Like, what the fuck are you, a narc?" Because it was illegal. So I was that guy. Like, where'd you get this weed that's illegal? And they go,
There you go.
I can't answer this question. And on that story, you always go out on weed. You always go out on weed. Or, sorry, marijuana. Marijuana.
What is a marijuana drug?
It's a jazz cigarette. All right, Paul Rossi, we love you to death. Thank you for spending a couple hours with us.
Boys.
Oh, my God.
Good hearing from you, man.
Anytime.
Actually, when you see a movie, usually the podcast is we see a movie and then we cover that movie and then we cover what else we've seen that week before, between the episodes. But if you see something or a collection of movies or something you really want to talk about, shoot us a text, an email, whatever, and come on the podcast and we'll talk about that movie, especially if it's a new release, like Asteroid City's coming out, the new Wes Anderson movie. Any big movies that you think you'd want to talk about with us, not just movies you want to shit on, by the way.
I actually do enjoy cinema.
Exactly. I know. Yeah. But that's
regardless of what you've heard.
It's the tendency for us to have a podcast and go like, oh, I hated this movie. We actually like, if we're going to feature a movie, we want to talk good about it. So if you like a movie, if you love a movie, definitely come on and say, hey guys, I watched this movie. Let's talk about it. You will always be welcome.
Yeah. And let me know, because I have a friend or a set of friends who have a Plex account and they acquire movies however they acquire them.
Mm-hmm.
We have a friend like that too.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Say no more.
I can stay very up to date on new release films. So
excellent.
Anytime.
Excellent. Well, keep us updated. Like I said, this was too much fun. You keep this up and you'll replace Andy, which will be great.
Yes, please. I'm tired of this shit. I'm tired of being in the same fucking room with him. It's daunting. It's just like every week.
Well,
I'm sorry. I don't know who.
Yeah, you don't even know anymore.
Who this person is.
I'm sorry, I don't know any names right now that I can't remember from any movies that I might have seen.
Who is this Benicio del Toro?
Well,
now we gotta go. Jesus.
Now we're getting silly and we're gonna say stuff we regret.
Merching del Toro.
You brought it up. All right. Anyway, All right.
I love you.
4 seasons of film, episode, 318?
418.
418. See, I don't know where the hell we are. 418. Our guest was Paul Rossi tonight. Actor, thespian, Paul Rossi. Soon to be returning, I can guarantee it, to our camera systems. Thank you, Paul. It was lovely to have you. Can you say keep film alive and we'll get out of here?
Can I say what?
Keep film alive. That's our little thing we say at the end of every episode.
Just like an actor.
Say it backwards, Paul. Say it backwards and then say it forwards again.
Say it 5 times fast.
Film alive.
People are afraid of me. I am not a man.
Yeah, you know what? I don't believe you.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep film. Oh wow. Keep film alive. Keep film alive for sure. 100% all the time. Yes.
Just say it, man.
No improv.
Improv.
Hey, Brando, comment.
What am I saying?
No, it's good. It's good. We're done. We're good.
Okay, bye, Paul.
That's it.
That's
I'm
it.
Just showing you. I'm just showing you what it's like to deal with a difficult actor.
I love it. I'm more difficult than that. All right, man. I gotta go. But it was great talking to you. We'll talk soon, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Kisses. Love you.
Love you, bud. Bye.
Bye.
Well, wasn't that just a bunch of fun? Thank you so much for tuning in to both parts of the Inside the Actor Studio episode with actor Paul Rossi. And we look forward to seeing you next week for episode 420 on the 4 Seasons of Film podcast.